the actor who made us hate a character. Imagine an actor playing a character so perfectly, so convincingly, that people start hating him, even in real life. At just 21 years old, Jack Gleeson portrayed Joffrey Baratheon in Game of Thrones, one of the most despised characters in television history. And he did it so well that viewers forgot the line between fiction and reality. In Winterfell, at royal feasts, or on the battlefield, Joffrey's cruelty was terrifying. But in real life, Jack Gleeson was calm, humble, kind, and always cheerful. Yet the public didn't see that. People would shout at him in the streets, throw insults, and even threaten him, forgetting that he was just a young actor playing a fictional role. The hatred he faced for Joffrey followed him everywhere: interviews, public events, and even casual encounters. This part of his story shows the immense power of acting and how it can impact an actor's real life in ways audiences often don't realize. When fiction turns real. The public hated Joffrey, but they couldn't separate the actor from the character. Jack Gleeson experienced something few actors do: the consequences of perfect acting. Strangers would shout at him on the streets. People would send threats, forgetting that he was just a 21-year-old actor. Interviews became awkward, casual outings, tense, all because he made Joffrey Baratheon feel real. Jack was constantly reminded of the cruelty he portrayed. And yet, in reality, he was everything Joffrey was not: kind, humble, calm, and always smiling. This intense disconnect between his role and his real life became unbearable, and it planted the seed for a choice that would change his life forever. Fame can break you. The role of Joffrey Baratheon made Jack Gleeson famous across the world. Millions of people knew his face. But fame does not always feel like success. For Jack, the attention was overwhelming. The constant hate, the pressure of expectations, and the inability of people to separate him from Joffrey slowly started affecting his life. Instead of enjoying the success of one of the biggest shows in television history, Jack began to feel exhausted by it. At the height of Game of Thrones' popularity, when most actors dream of bigger roles and Hollywood fame, Jack Gleeson made a decision that shocked fans everywhere. He stepped away from acting. No upcoming movies, no red carpets, no big interviews. He simply walked away from the spotlight. For many fans, it was hard to understand. Why would someone leave such incredible success behind? But for Jack, the answer was simple. Peace mattered more than fame, choosing peace over fame. After leaving the spotlight, Jack Gleeson did something unexpected. Instead of chasing fame or returning to Hollywood, he chose a quieter path. He returned to Ireland and focused on his studies. Later, he even started a small theater company with his friends. Unlike the massive fame of Game of Thrones, this was something simple and personal. Small stages, small audiences, but genuine happiness. For Jack, acting was never about becoming a global celebrity. It was simply a passion. When asked why he left such a successful career behind, Jack once said something very honest. Acting was always just a hobby for me. I never wanted fame. Those words revealed something many people forget. For some actors, success isn't measured by popularity, but by peace, the quiet comeback. For nearly a decade, Jack Gleeson stayed away from the spotlight. While Game of Thrones continued to grow into one of the biggest shows in television history, the actor behind Joffrey Baratheon chose a much quieter life. But after almost 10 years, Jack slowly returned to acting. Not for fame, not for attention, but simply because he still loved performing. His return was quiet and simple. No massive announcements, no red carpet spotlight, no attempt to recreate the fame of Game of Thrones. Instead, Jack continued acting on his own terms. Smaller projects, theater performances, roles that focused on the craft rather than the fame. And perhaps that's the most fascinating part of his story. The man who played one of television's most hated villains turned out to be one of the most humble actors behind the scenes. Proof that sometimes the greatest performances come from people who never wanted the spotlight in the first place. Jack Gleeson's story reminds us of one thing. Sometimes, the greatest actors are not those chasing fame, but those who stay true to themselves. From playing television's most hated villain to quietly walking away from the spotlight, Jack chose peace over popularity and craft over attention. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Joffrey Baratheon's story, make sure to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, which Game of Thrones character should we explore next?